Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda, bringing you your Vedic Astrology New Moon Report for March 13th, 2021. In this report, I'm going to go over the energies of this new moon, this very powerful and potent new moon, as well as the energies at play for the rest of the month of March 2021. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, right off the bat, I want to thank everybody who reached out to check in on me and ask me where my February full moon report was. It was very interesting. So last month, where we left off, we had this planetary pile-up happening in the sidereal sign of Capricorn. And we had all of these planets which were combust, right? If you remember in my last report, we talked about how these planets were in the rays of the sun, which rendered their significations impotent, right? So we had Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, all combust, and then later on in the month we had Venus go combust. So all the significations of these planets came under some kind of trouble, and that was the case with me as well. Mercury being combust, my computer totally glitched out. The sound went out, the screen went out, everything went out, and for weeks there I was unable to use it. And guess what? As soon as Mercury went out from being combust, right? So as soon as Mercury became visible again or outside of the rays of the sun, everything started working again like magic. I didn't even have to do anything. So it was pretty incredible to witness. This month, I'll speak a little bit about that as well. This month, we have Venus combust, as well as Exalted, but we'll get to that after this new moon report. So, having said that, thank you all very much for checking in on me. I appreciate it, and it feels good to be missed. Okay, now moving on. This new moon on March 13th, 2021 is a very powerful new moon. For those of you that know, on March 11th, we just passed the night of Maha Shivaratri. And this is when, in the Indian culture, in the Hindu Dharam, we stay up all night to venerate the great Lord Shiva, okay? Now, why does it happen on this day? It's the 14th tithi of the moon, or the 14th phase of the waning moon. And usually when we have these celebrations, it's a time where the energy is unsettled. When the cosmic energy is unsettled, is when we go into our spiritual practices to stay connected with our higher sources. So those of you out there watching this in the past few days, including today, you might have felt tired, emotionally unsettled, and not illuminated in the mind. This is usually what happens around dark moon time. And this dark moon especially is happening in the Nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapada. So Purva Bhadrapada is the front legs, or symbolized as the front legs of our funeral cot. So that tiredness that we feel, it could be the weight of all of the activities in life that we are responsible for doing. And instead of just resting in our normal beds, it's like endings. It's the beginning of endings. So we can feel the need to clear things up, to finish projects, and in a few days' time, we're going to get the energy, or we're going to feel the energy of starting anew. Okay, so it's like the beginning of the endings. And soon, when the sun is going to transit into Pisces in a few days, we'll start to feel the connection with our divine source. So a lot of times we're so busy working and trying to figure out our material existence, whereas when we really need to rest and connect with our divine existence, to make sure our divine existence and our material existence are in line with each other. The deity for this nakshatra is a very interesting deity called Aja Ekapada. So it's this depicted as this one-footed goat. If you can imagine that, usually the goat has 4 legs, right? It's an animal that's really solid on the earth and can reach great heights. Now, this one-footed goat, where is it going to go, right? So this one-footed goat kind of brings in the energy of shaking things up, like being debilitated in a way, wanting to rise to great heights, feeling tired, but then getting a divine blast of insight or connectivity. So let me know how you guys are feeling on this new moon. It's the new moon. It's actually happening in the sidereal sign of Aquarius, where Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra is. And so in this full moon, we're also going to feel that whatever we are doing or trying to create in the material reality has a greater influence, more than just satisfying ourselves, but benefiting and doing something for the sake of the greater good. That's why it's very important that our divine connection is also in line with our material strivings, okay? So wishing you all a great new moon. Is a fabulous new moon to turn inward into our spiritual practices, to question our path, to look back at how far we've come and all the work that we've done, and discern what we need to continue forward and what we need to lay to rest and allow to die. And if you would like a little help and looking at your own chart to see where these energies are going to be most impactful for you, you could feel free to reach out to me for a Vedic astrology reading at the email in the description box below. Okay, so what other planetary influences are going on for the month of March? Well, as soon as this new moon finishes, we are going to have the sun changing signs in the next few days and going into the sidereal sign of Pisces. Now, the last several new moons have been like this, where the sun and the moon are conjoining at the end of a sign, right? So usually new moons are when we do a reset, but the energy is almost like at the end instead of at the beginning. So it can also be a little bit more of a completion energy and a little bit more of a dual energy between two signs, because the sun and the moon are together and then the sun changes signs in the next few days. It's in an area, it's called Sandhi in Vedic astrology. So this new moon is no different. This new moon is happening at the end of sidereal Aquarius. So we're going to get the feeling of wanting to be connected to the greater community, as well as to our higher divinity. This is going to be very important for the remainder of March, because not only do we have the sun moving into Pisces, but we have Venus moving into Pisces along with the sun. Venus is exalted in Pisces, as well as is going to be combust for the rest of the month. So what this shows is not our minds and our beings not being so concerned about our mundane sort of physical romances, which is what Venus indicates, but wanting to connect to the great romance of God or of our divinity, wanting to be connected with our higher sense of love and beauty and value. So not being so concerned, but like looking at how can we, oh, my computer just glitched. Okay, how can we be connected with our divine values, our divine romance, our oneness with our spiritual or higher selves. Since it's going to be combust, look for the outward significations of Venus to not necessarily be working so smoothly. Not only does that include relationships, it could include our vehicles, it can include our wealth, it can indicate fluctuations or just difficulty in the markets as well. So please keep an eye and be aware of that. The other very important signification that is happening this month, that has already happened, is that Mars has changed signs. It's gone from sidereal Aries, which it rules, it lords, to sidereal Taurus, where it's going to meet Rahu, or the North Node. And again, this brings up the significations of our value, of money, of vehicles, of beauty, of our comforts. And this is going to be jarred a bit. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling irritated, just know that Mars is in the sidereal sign of Taurus with Rahu, which can cause all of these energies, and to just come back to our spiritual practices. Venus in Pisces. And how is it that we can get our directedness or our directives from the higher sources, right? How can we let go and trust and make the right choices based on our divine connection, based on our source? So hopefully that has been helpful. I wish you all a happy and a very connected new moon on this March 13th, 2021. Again, if you would like to schedule a Vedic astrology session with me, please feel free to reach out on the email below. Thank you all again who missed me and were asking about my whereabouts. I'm glad to be back online and sharing these reports with you. And I will be back later on in the month to give you more astrological insights based on the Vedic astrology perspective. So until next time, thank you. Enjoy the life and namaste. See you soon. All right. Take care now. Bye-bye.